word nerds, Kate here, and today's words are all about some of my favorite books. As someone who reads and writes a lot, I'm often asked, what are your favorite books? Or even worse, what is your favorite book? I kind of hate these questions, not because I don't love books, because I do, but because I can never pick one. I read and enjoy a lot of different books for a lot of different reasons, and some of them are so wildly different from each other, it's really hard to make a comparison. Also, my current favorite book will often change depending on my mood, what I'm reading, sometimes even what I'm watching on TV. So when people ask this question, instead of letting myself panic and go into a spiral and my mind completely blanking out, which it often does, I tend to default to what I call V.I.B.s. Very important books. These are, of course, some of my favorite books, but more than that, they're the books that have had a very deep impact on me, either personally or as a writer. This isn't all of them because that would probably be a never-ending list, but these are definitely the ones that have shaped me the most. So I don't actually have this book here because I'm letting a friend borrow it, but I can find a picture of the cover. Book number 1, The Cry of the Icemark. As you may imagine, I was a big reader as a kid, and a lot of that comes from the fact that my parents read to us all the time. One of the main reasons Cry of the Icemark is so important to me as a reader is because it was one of the first books that I really loved that I found outside of the books my parents read to me. It's a fantasy book about a young girl named Thirin Freer Strong in the Arm Lindenshield, and isn't that a name? Thirin is the heir to the throne of the Icemark and has to save her country from war. I read this book, I think in middle school, and I absolutely fell in love with the vivid setting and the incredible characters. Plus, while it wasn't a book my parents introduced me to, it was a book one of my dearest friends introduced me to, and I really think that our mutual love of it brought us a lot closer together. Next up, The Blue Sword by Robin McKinley. As much as the characters and the setting of the Icemark spoke to me as a reader, it was the mythology of the Blue Sword that I fell in love with. The Blue Sword is actually, now that I think about it, sort of similar in terms of plot to The Cry of the Icemark. It's about a girl named Harry who discovers her destiny and tries to prevent war between two countries. So that's weird. I think I'm starting to see a pattern here. This book really helped solidify for me that fantasy was a genre that I just loved. But more than that, it's what made me realize that I can create these worlds too. And I think I read it about the same time I started trying to write my own stories, and so it will always have a special place in my heart as one of the first books that made me want to write a book. And finally, Little Women. I recently bought this special edition and I am in love with the cover. Oh my goodness, look at this! So while I credit Cry of the Icemark with solidifying me as a reader and The Blue Sword with solidifying me as a writer, I can pretty confidently say that Little Women is the reason I am the person I am today. I don't know exactly when I read it for the first time. I feel like I grew up just knowing the story, but I probably actually sat down and read the book myself sometime in late elementary school or middle school. And the story has always really resonated with me. I was a girl who had a big imagination and wanted to see the world and kind of had a temper and had sisters that she loved but didn't know how to get along with. But to quote another very important book to me, Anne of Green Gables, I have always considered Jo March a kindred spirit. Reading about her growing up and the ups and downs she had have gotten me through some really hard times. Anyway, if you're interested in hearing more of my words, there's a link in the description that will take you to my website, or you can find me on Facebook, Twitter, and Instagram at Kate G. Jameson. Leave a comment below and let me know what are some very important books to you and why. Don't forget to like and subscribe, and you will see me next time, word nerds.